Given that he wasn't wrong about the Glen Turret, I thought I owed Roy as much as actually trying the Speyburn 15, because it's certainly been getting some attention over the last few months, and I hope to try it before it sells out, because all the barflies have started buying all of it. This is Speyburn 15 that I've got in the glass today, and I'm not quite sure what to expect. It's one of those distilleries that flies under the radar so much, you'd think it was a B-52 bomber. Recently, it's been capturing a fair bit of attention, and no small part to... Can we call it the Delia effect still? Do people know what that is? Right, so there was this woman, right, and she used to do some cooking on the telly back in the day. I raise this because whenever I've mentioned Delia Smith to work colleagues, they're like, who's that? And I'm like, oh my god, I'm old. She was like Fanny Crack... No, that's even worse. She was like... Who cooks now? Not that corrugated bastard who swears at people, he's just a cunt. Lorraine Pascal? Is she still kicking around? She was doing cooking about 10 years ago. Nigella? She's still on it, isn't she? Yeah, she wasn't anything like Nigella at all. So radically different people. Anyway, basically, the Nigella effect is basically every time... Not the Nigella effect, what am I on about? The Delia effect. The Nigella effect is radically different. I never got it, but the Delia effect is basically whenever she would mention a particular ingredient or a particular piece of cookware or something, people would go out and buy it, and it would end up selling out. So when Roy mentions about the Speyburn, I'm expecting people to go out and buy it. I mean, I'm fucking doing it. So, but I cheated. I bought a dram out of a pub and was like, hey, can I bottle this? And they were like, yeah, I guess. I was like, cheers, thanks for that, you're a pal. So, Speyburn. I don't know what to tell you about this, because it's flown so far under my radar, I don't have anything to regurgitate. Now, I could have gone and, tried to make myself look like a big man and, Googled everything, but I think it's more honest for me to be like, yeah, I just ignored this. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going off a recommendation. Because sometimes that's how people actually experience whiskey, and I think that's a more honest way of doing this, rather than try and pretend that, oh yes, I've been drinking Speyburn for 15 years. I knew it was going to be big one day. I showed it the ropes, don't you know? Ho ho ho. None of that. I have had a quick look, and basically all it says really is it's 15 years old, and it's been matured in both American and Spanish oaks. Or casks, I should say, sorry. It really doesn't have a lot to say for itself. It was introduced in the range in 2017. That's basically all it has to say. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this. I like an underdog. I like it when, a whiskey that maybe is getting underappreciated by myself or indeed, the general public. I've got the window open at the minute because the cat's shedding and he's causing my allergies to go into overdrive, but it's fucking freezing. Yeah, so I might be shivering during this, but it's fine because I've got whiskey. 46% non-chill filtered natural colour, I believe. I would imagine that's part of the big appeal with it. Also, it's cheap. That'll definitely help. I've noticed a lot of this with it's very rare that an expensive whiskey makes it through. The Glen Turret 12 had to do a lot of hard work to get that interest, I feel, by comparison to, if it was like a $5 cheaper, oh lordy, we were not ready. We were not. But yeah, I think at least part of this is the fact that, it's affordable. So, on the nose, again, this is going to be one of those ones where I'm going to be like, go with me. It smells kind of like, the woodworking bit of like a home base or a B&Q. You go and get some timber and you're like, hey mate, can you saw this to this specification for me? And they're like, yeah, sure, I guess, whatever. It smells like that. Sawdust? Maybe go with sawdust? Sure, and there's a fair bit of vanilla in there as well. It's a lovely, quite rich, custardy kind of an aroma, with a sprinkle of sawdust on top. There we go. It's the best kind of austerity ice cream sundae that you could possibly hope to buy. A little bit of caramel as well. It's got a hint of not real coffee, but like the coffee revels, you know, like fake artificial coffee. Again, I'm down on record for saying that I bloody love the coffee revel. Fight me. Don't actually, I'm weak. But yeah. Dessert-led is what I'm getting off this nose so far. It's a little bit dessert-led, which I'm okay with. So let's see what all the fuss is about. Ah. I see. I see. Interesting. There's more going on there than I expected. Okay. Okay, you've intrigued me. A bit of that kind of coffee cream as well in there. It's like a tiramisu almost. It's creamy, it's decadent, it's chocolatey. There's bitterness from like a coffee kind of a thing. There's vanilla. It's tiramisu in a glass, this. Yet it goes easy on the richness. It's there, but it's not like, say, like a Glenmorangie Signet or a Glenallachie 15, where it's just kind of like whack. This is much more subtle in the delivery. And as a consequence of that, it feels a bit more kind of grown up. You get the impression of the age from it. Sometimes with 15-year-olds, they're kind of... I mean, I love 15-year-olds, just as a jet. Think before you speak. I love 15-year-old whiskies. Jeez, I'm going to end up in jail one of these days. I love 15-year-old whiskies. As a general rule, like I don't know, it just seems to be a sweet spot with me. The Glenallachie, famously, it won my whiskey of the year. The Johnny Walker, the Glendronach. Other 15-year-olds are available. 15-year-old whiskies. Jesus Christ. Why does it sound so much better when like, as soon as you get to 18-year-old whiskies, it's fine. Like, if the slip of the tongue, it's like, well, it's legal. But, oh God, I'm digging my own grave here. This is nice. This is nice. I'm going to add a tickle of water in my Victorian jug here. Really difficult to control the pour on this. The nose has gone a lot more bitter fruit. It's gone a lot more kind of... It's a jar of marmalade. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a jar of marmalade right now. Bitter oranges. The beginning and the end of the story on that one is just pure, simple, bitter oranges. You could accuse it of becoming monotonous, but it's a nice smell. And to taste it, if that wasn't tiramisu before, it fucking is now. Wow. That's done a lot to it. It's just amplified everything it was giving me before. And I hate these ones where it's kind of like, yeah, that's what it tastes like, and that's it. Because obviously, what you're supposed to do with tasting, you'd be like, rattle off 20 or 30 bloody tasting notes, but this is tiramisu in a glass. Mascarpone, ladyfingers, the sponge cake's not, you know, espresso, chocolate, a little bit of like a marsala kind of an element to that. That might just be the booze talking at this point. This is tiramisu in a glass. I get the hype. I get the hype. That's a fantastic one to put in a blind tasting, although to what degree that would work anymore now that it's been discovered, as it were. This opens up an interesting question though. How many more under-the-radar whiskies are there that deserve our attention? There we go. Do you have a couple of whiskies out there? Because the recent one, actually, I'll admit to having never heard of it. Phil over at Whiskey Wednesday, he started talking about the Black Bull whiskies, the blends. I'd never heard of them before, I'd never even seen them. And I don't think he cares for the term evangelizing. I think I've spoken to him about this already, but it had nothing but wonderful things to say about them. And I was in Royal Mile Whiskies a little while ago, and I was talking to Oh, I forget the lad's name. One of the staff there, that's really bad of me. He did introduce, I've met him 10 or 12 times and that's really bad of me. But, sorry if you haven't been watching this. I mean, if he was, he'll have clicked off by now in a furious rage, understandably. I was talking about the black bull whiskers, and he basically said, like, yeah, we had a few people asking about them recently. I was like, I suspect I may know why. So, you know, that's the, when we're talking about the influence that people have on whiskies being bought and sold, and like I don't want to like, you know, I don't be like, oh yes, I have an influence as well, but I have noticed it myself, like, you know, people kind of like going off of my recommendation. Hey Clubman, for better or for worse, being a famous example, because I said, do you know what, that's not half bad, and then people got it and were like, you're not well, and yeah, fair. But I mean, they got a blending whiskey out of it, if nothing else, so, you know, not all was lost. Not my finest moment. Do you know what? I still back myself on that one. From how people go on about it, I was expecting to be choking on hairspray, and it was not that. It wasn't amazing, but it was vanilla-y and a kind of plastic. It was like somebody dunked a Barbie in a vanilla ice cream and then went, ugh, that's what that is. This is not that. This is tiramisu. I should just put my tasting notes on like a page one of these days, or like a t-shirt or something, because would people buy that? Might end up getting arrested. People are like, oh, this is profane. I could do with the money, though. Anyway, this was Speyburn 15. Yeah, I'm probably going to get a bottle of that, to be honest. That's really nice. Tiramisu in a glass. It's even got that kind of, like, sweet cheese mascarpone thing going on with it. I know that doesn't sound particularly appealing, but it works. I like it. If Roy is watching, and it's not very likely, but if Roy is watching this and he's like, I don't get that at all. Well, I guess that's the difference between us two. Yeah, let me know down below what undiscovered or underappreciated whiskies are out there that you think should get more attention. I definitely have one that I keep talking about, but yeah, we'll be going on about that again at some point, I suspect. But for now then, thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else. It's one of those distilleries, really, that flies under the radar so heavy. Heavy? It's one of those distilleries that flies under the radar. Radar? Fucking hell, I'm getting my money's out of the outtakes today.